This is Jared Patterson, wrestling reporter for the Globe Gazette. Filming this here on Tuesday. We got a few meets tonight, and then we're kind of in the meat of the conference tournament schedule. Last week, North Central Conference meet Iowa Central and Fort Dodge. Webster City won the team title. Clarion Goldfield second. Clear Lake third. Clear Lake crowned 3 champs. Somewhat disappointing day for Coach Gary Weber and the boys down there. I think they had a realistic shot at winning it going in on paper. 5 finalists. Just didn't quite score enough points in the backside of the bracket to make any noise in the team race. I think Webster City and Clarion both placed all 14 wrestlers in the top 6. So conference tournaments, that's what it's about. We have the CIML tournament this Friday, Southeast Polk. I think Southeast Polk's obviously the clear favorite to win the team title. For Mason City, it's going to come down to those individual matchups. I think that you look at some of the potential finals bouts that we're going to see Friday night. They scream state title caliber, even state finals caliber matches. I mean, Cazono was unbeaten for Mason City at 126 pounds, ranked number 1. Could potentially face John Giaffretti from Indianola, second ranked at 126 pounds. Fast forward to 160, Andy Bartell from Mason City, who I think is on the cusp of being a state title contender. I don't know if he's quite there with the 1 or 2s, but I think he's very close, and I think that he's got a shot to make some gains here. Isaiah Patton, ranked number 1 at Dowling in his weight class, will be in that tournament as well. So I mean, there's a lot of good tests. I don't anticipate Stone Sturgis being a factor. He's the other ranked wrestler for Mason City. He was a state place winner last year. Foot injury against Clear Lake does not look good for him going forward. That family's had a ton of injuries dating back to his brother Parker. So yeah, that'll be difficult. But I think it's Southeast Polk and then everybody else. I think everybody else is fighting for second place in that tournament. But just want to touch on a few other quick things, just individuals as we kind of hit the home stretch here. Sectionals coming up in almost 2 weeks. The state tournament's not very far off, so I think we got a bunch of kids with legit state title chances this year. I mean, I'm going to start with the hottest kid in the area. Noah Irons, 152-pounder for Lake Mills in Class 1A, 36-0, 4 decisions on the year. He's pinned Cody Nelson from North Butler twice the past 2 weeks. The most recent coming in 15 seconds. Just a stunning result, to tell you the truth. I mean, I think that we all know that Noah Irons is really good. Cody Nelson, the state finalist, who was unbeaten until he lost to Noah Irons the first time around this year. For him, I think it's realistic to say that he's a favorite now to win a state title. When you beat kids like that in convincing fashion, and you don't just do it once, you do it multiple times, it's not a fluke. I mean, he's obviously peaking at the right time. Was hurt last year, his junior season, got hurt at the conference tournament, didn't get to wrestle in the postseason. This is his last go-round. So I think you're seeing a very determined kid, and I think it's really showing here the last couple weeks. Brennan Doble from Clear Lake is ranked second at 106 pounds in Class 2A. An incredible finals match at the NCC at Iowa Central on Saturday. He was down 6-2 late to Justin Portello from Clarion Goldfield, ranked second in 1A. A tremendous match. Portello was up 6-2, 30 seconds to go. Doble ends up tying the match late, sticks him in overtime. He's 26-1 this year. I mean, all his wins are by tech, and he's got 23 out of his 26 wins are by fall. So I mean, he's a bonus point machine. And a couple of those other Clear Lake kids, I mean, I think there are other title contenders in that mix. Obviously, Andres Gonzalez hasn't been beat, 28-0. He's got a hand injury. For Clear Lake, it's health. I mean, if these guys are going to be healthy down the home stretch, I think is the biggest key for them. They've been dinged up. Schmallen's coming back. Can he get in shape and get enough matches in before the postseason rolls around to be peaking at the right time? I think that Leisure at 120 pounds, I think that the expectation, I think if you probably ask him or Coach Weber, they feel like they have a state title contender on their hands this year. I mean, I know he's a freshman, but they're not thinking about what he can be down the road. They're thinking about what he is now. And what he is now is on the cusp of being a state title contender. Gonzalez is 26 of his 28 wins by bonus points. 2 guys have took him 6 minutes and not got majored, teched, or pinned. Forsyth from Charles City, Lehman from Clarion this past weekend in the finals of the NCC at 138. In both those matches, Gonzalez really controlled and was never in any trouble. I touched briefly on Ono. He's 26-0. I think that when you talk about kids that it's state title or bust, he's certainly in that conversation. He was a split second away from being a state champ last year in the finals at 113. Heartbreaking loss to the Valley kid, and he showed that focus that you expect from a state champion this year. I mean, he's dominated kids, good kids, and I'm hoping I get to see that match against Giuffretti in the finals at 126 in the CIML, just to see is there any separation between 1 and 2 right now, and how that translates going forward. And probably the most interesting weight class, I think, in the area, and when you go a little farther outside the area, when you throw in Webster City and Clarion, 285 pounds in our area is just loaded. Mario Pena from Hampton Dumont's ranked number 1. He got second in the NCC, got beat by the Clarion kid in the finals on a reversal late. Tremendous match. You look at Tyler Putney from Forest City, ranked in the top 5, and he beat Pena last week in overtime. I think that we have a lot of title contenders in that weight. It's so hard to translate what you think is going to happen in the state tournament with heavyweights, just because all these matches seems like they're 2-1 matches or 3-2 matches that are going into overtime. You don't see that separation from one guy, and I think that's going to make for a fantastic sectional district and state tournament weight class. It's going to be very interesting. Tyler Putney's a very athletic heavyweight for Forest City. The Paulson kid, who gets to train with 220-pounders, a sophomore, I think that's another kid that's going to surprise some people. You look at his mark, he wins. You look at what he's capable of, the firepower he has, and the athleticism for 220 pounds. I think that you're looking at another guy who could place in the state tournament, and then going forward, I think that you're looking at a state title contender. Just looking at the North Iowa Conference meet, it's Saturday in Lake Mills. You know, it's kind of always Osage is the favorite who can knock them off. Osage hasn't been healthy. I mean, it's been hard for them. Perrin, I believe, got hurt at the Battle of Waterloo, came back and has not wrestled since January 11th. They're going to get their points where they're going to get their points in the middle of that lineup. Can they have enough other guys kind of come through and surprise some people, whether it's the lower or the upper weights? Forest City, they're starting to get healthy as well. I think they're the one team that you look at and say, Forest City can give Osage a run in this tournament. I think that the duel, and you can't always go by duel, obviously tournaments is much different, but 39-37 was the duel score. Osage beat Forest City this year. If Forest City's at full strength, they have a lot of guys that are going to score a lot of points in this tournament. You throw in teams like Lake Mills that have some decent firepower, enough to compete with Osage or Forest City, I'm not sure. But it's going to be interesting. And then you look at the Corn Bowls also this Saturday. Is this the year that Central Springs can knock off Nashville Plainfield? I mean, every year I think it's kind of the same as the North Iowa Conference. Can anybody beat Nashville Plainfield? If there's ever a year where Central Springs can do it, this is it. I mean, they have the firepower. They have a bunch of guys who are going to be in the finals and win titles. A lot of these tournaments come down to the depth and what you do on the backside of a bracket, and I think that Central Springs has that this year. Al Frost always gets those guys ready to go, though, in Nashville. I mean, they find a way to win this tournament. It seems like, I don't know if it's 10 or 11 years in a row right now, but it's been a long time running for them. So, going to be interesting to see if Central Springs can knock them off. Then you got a team like North Butler with a bunch of good individuals, enough firepower, I don't know, to be in the mix. Probably unlikely, but it should be interesting. So we're kind of on the stretch run here. I mean, sectionals isn't far off. Obviously, conference tournaments this weekend. So stay posted, and we'll have more here.